Lovely. I think we're good. There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to High Level Games Presents Star Trek Adventures, where we watch the crew of the USS Bonaventure and their Excelsior-class starship go on awesome adventures. Fun fact, this week, Michael and I attended a Star Trek trivia night at a local pub here in Edmonton. And our team, who are called the Trivia Crushers, came in third. We outstripped many of the nerds, and I'm very, very excited about our placement. The fact that we were beaten, given how well we did, is shocking. Who came in first? The Obsidian Disorder, and then second place was, I think, Gorn to be Wild.
But they deserved the win.
So it was super fun for us. I had a blast that night. I would go back and do that again. Out of 50 questions, I think our score was 39, and I felt that we deserved 2 extra points because the questions were non-specific enough. That our answers were correct. They just weren't correct in the way they wanted them to be correct.
I'm surprised you didn't argue that, honestly.
Who says he didn't try?
It is what it is. And my beautiful bride, Vanessa, I've given a Mother's Day gift to, which is exciting. I don't know how the lighting is, but it is the Pon Far perfume. That's super great.
Leave logic behind.
Yeah. We also won a Search for Spock book that's like a Where's Waldo Star Trek themed book. That's
incredible.
Trinity has been enjoying.
Yes.
I gotta bring that back
I'd
into the
enjoy
office
that.
so Michael can play with it too. When you give me back my Star Trek Mirror
Please do.
Universe Next Generation comic book, I'll bring that in. How's that?
Rude.
Michael, I'm having a difficulty hearing.
Barely hear Mike.
That's way better.
Any better?
Oh, went back again.
You just need to stick
Good.
your neck out like this all the time.
Yes, just
Yeah.
stick it out.
Okay.
Like a frog.
Yes.
Like Leno.
Talking voice.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, if you've put in a sound gate or something. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm really excited to get going on this part 4 of the wedding of Caesara, or the marriage of Caesara, something. Caesara's wedding.
Was a sham.
Which people have some feelings, I think, right now about the wedding. There's some emotions happening. It is not traditional at the wedding feast of Orions that one of the families attending is poisoned and an all-out civil war breaks out within the Orion Syndicate. It's not traditional either. Why don't we just introduce ourselves and then say who we played, and why don't we come up with one fact about your character that we have not heard yet. Could be anything. Why don't we start off with Michael?
All right. I'm Michael. I am playing the captain, Celis Argel. And one fact that we might not know about my character is that he's not quite sold on the prophets. He's pretty sure that they're almighty celestial beings that rule over Bajor, but he's not positive, and he has a sneaking suspicion that they may just be wormhole aliens.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do you tell your parents
Deep.
that?
Huge.
Of course not.
That's not
Like,
Bajoran Thanksgiving dinner
if you-
conversation.
No, if you want to have a peaceful Thanksgiving,
Like
Yeah.
any Bajoran does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
All right, I am Jake. I am playing first officer, Commander Kieran Hex. And one fact about him is that he is not. This is not his first pair of cybernetic legs. This is his third. He has gone to two
Interesting.
others.
How did you go through 2 others?
He would rather not say.
All right.
It was through his own stupidity.
So
I'll just say
after
that.
losing your legs due to your own daring, as
He lost
okay,
more sets.
interesting.
Yes. You got to put them
Okay,
through their paces
great.
somehow.
All right. I'm Tim. I play Lieutenant Commander Marcus Barton, second officer. And Marcus failed biochemistry on his first attempt at the academy.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, Alfred Hitchcock once said, drama is just life with the dull bits cut out. And so when you do see in Star Trek the tests that they have to take in order to apply and enter Starfleet Academy, they're crazy, but the ones that you see are all the most exciting ones. And then they kind of like fast forward through the hours and hours that they're sitting in front of screens answering questions. And if the qualifications are so high that Starfleet's like the best and the best of the best of the Federation. So, and you have to be good at everything. You don't have to be great at everything, but you have to be good at everything so you can be great in your area. And so I recently kind of sat there and thought to myself, like, the crappiest person in Starfleet is probably amazing, just as a person.
Mhm.
It's true.
All right. I'm Vanessa. I'm playing Dr. Bassa Idem. One thing that you probably don't know about her, I mean, we all know of her debilitating fear of things going wrong. Some may call her a hypochondriac. But what you don't know is that it has prevented her from having a long-term relationship because she sees the medical records of everyone on board, and anything that they might be genetically predisposed to terrifies her and doesn't allow her to
That
take
is so
risks.
sad.
Right? So sad.
Oh man, that is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's debilitating.
No,
It's not
I
good.
enjoy the Dr. Bassa Edom thing, right? Kind of like Esri Dax, she was never meant to be joined. She was genetically compatible, but not ready. But she had to be joined to the Edom symbiote because if not, they'd lose the symbiote. And
Mhm.
but she was a physician who became a physician because she's a hypochondriac. And then she has now the benefit of all of these years of lifetimes of experience from the previous hosts of the symbiote. But if and when this symbiote carries forward, it's going to carry that with them.
Yep.
And did we talk about this? Like, we'd kind of like mentioned that maybe your symbiote was quite old. Like, you might be the last or one
Yeah,
of the
we
last
did.
hosts.
Yeah. Going out with a bang.
Very interesting stuff. Thanks so much, everybody. So
Mhm.
when last we left our intrepid heroes, we had been invited to the wedding of Caesara, who is the daughter of one of the crime lords, crime families of the Orion Syndicate, with the son, Thaven, of the other main crime family in this region. Both families of whom you had interacted with in the past. One of whom had victimized some Lethians that you ended up saving, and then the doctor had to, while in command of the ship, scare them off. And the other who you had a pitched battle with outside of the Walian vessel, where you gambled with the lives of billions. And which, to this day, I love consequences of what could have gone with that.
But they didn't. Stop focusing on the
The
bad.
good
Come
is that
on.
it worked out really well in the end. So, great. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, as far as that goes, you had been invited to the wedding of Caesara, and you had been met with by Admiral Joshua Heath, who had concerns about your performance as a captain and crew, but he said that he really wanted you to attend this wedding because he'd worked out a deal that if you attended and acted in a ceremonial role, the ceremony of as the Ludicar, Judalar,
Hmm.
yeah, the
Ah.
Judalar, which is a ceremonial protector of the bride during these weddings, and ceremonially you're supposed to protect her till morning, and if for whatever reason that person left or was injured, their freedom would be taken, or not injured, but they'd either be killed, or if they leave, their freedom's taken away, as well as any possessions they would have. And the deal was that if you were successful in this mission, if you acted as the Judalar, then the Orion Syndicate would, from this point forward, stop supplying Tyrinidae with arms, which would give the Federation and their new member on Castoria a significant strategic advantage, and you wouldn't constantly be worried about new weapons. So it's very important for the political outlay of this area, of this sector of space. So here you are in this bad situation on a space station called Othris Station. You witnessed the wedding ceremony, which was interesting, but everything leading up to and including that wedding ceremony seemed designed to get your goat. As well as when the wedding ceremony happened, the groom's family was poisoned, and immediately a civil war broke out between these two families. Your family, the family of Caesara that you were protecting, took cover in a casino, which wasn't super well defended because it subsequently faced a massive attack. And you had built a Domjot table fort to hide behind and engaged in a pitched fire and hand-to-hand battle against Nausicaans, Orions, and Lethians. Oh my. I mean, you'd won, and they'd repulsed the attackers, and Caesara had not been harmed during this whole time, but it was touch and go there for a while. A couple of rolls in either direction could have tipped the balance of that conflict. Now, none of you signed up to be soldiers, right? Starfleet is not primarily a military force. It can act as one for defensive purposes, but it's not meant for that. It's meant for science and exploration and so on. How does everybody feel about what just happened?
Doctor is completely out of her element. I mean, she was able to draw on some experiences of former hosts to kind of gird her up and get her through it. But she's not super stable in her thought processes right now. Like, her mind is racing a lot. And it races a lot normally. It's more so, and yeah, a lot more fear.
Well,
the captain finds the path that this has gone down, the violence, somewhat regrettable, but feels that at the end of the day, our values will be upheld, and that we'll be able to carry forward with a message of peace. I mean, you can try and you can try and use violence to intimidate the Federation, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why the Federation is a major power. Because we're not vicious, but also don't mess
Yeah, I
with
think
us.
one of the great quotes I read in one of the source books was a quote from a Klingon commander talked about how he was writing a report to the Klingon High Council, and he said, "Don't underestimate these humans. I know they talk a lot, and I know they see you, they want peace, and you might think that makes them weak, but if you corner them, if you back them into a situation where they're desperate, they'll fight like angry targs." I also really enjoy the character development that has happened with the captain over the last 2 episodes, in that there's steel there, right? Up to that point, we had seen a very conciliatory, consensus-seeking, um, thoughtful, risk-adverse captain. And I'm not saying that that's contrary to what we've seen develop, but we just hadn't seen that sign. When there's actual danger, um, he can throw down with the best of them. I think that's interesting.
And get
And
shot a lot,
apparently,
apparently.
Kieran cannot be hit.
Not without a spanner, he can't. After the combat, Kieran was riding the adrenaline high. He really hates the part of him that loves the excitement and the action and the battle. He truly believes in peace and striving for peace, but the action undeniably just gets his blood pumping, and he loves that. It was also deeply cathartic, though he will never admit it, to kill some Orions after, or disable some Orions, beat them after seeing the Betazoid pottery that they had, that they should not have. It was deeply cathartic for him to smack them with a spanner.
His new lucky warp spanner,
Which is now in his permanent
I
inventory,
don't
I will
blame
have
him.
you know.
That's a great weapon. That was one of those DM moments where I was like, okay, I'll have 3 attackers, one with a big blade, one with a small blade, and like one with something blunt. What's a Star Trekky blunt instrument? A warp spanner? That's probably a thing.
It is now officially a thing because it's in my inventory.
Hey,
Marcus has a very different reaction. He is loving this adrenaline rush. He's almost got a bit of a bloodlust, but it's also being held back by the uniform he's wearing, by his responsibility to make sure he doesn't kill Orions, follow his orders. He might really like if they weren't there, but they are. So he is restrained. He is joyfully restrained there.
yeah, as our resident human raised by Klingons, the anti-Worf, as I like to call him, I really enjoy that you're getting an opportunity to kind of let that very visceral kind of. I mean, there's no kind of combat like hand to hand, up in your face, disruptor blasts flying combat. There's nothing so visceral as that. And I mean, the fact that you were out there with your mechleth, fighting hand to hand against Nausigans that were trying to kill Caesara and get at you guys, it was, I mean, it reminded me a lot of kind of like trench warfare. Like, it got that scary, that bloody at one point. I mean, not without
It
its
did.
fun, the fact that you had the bad luck Nausicaan that kept floating around and falling on couches and stuff like that. You had the warp spanner, the fact that Kieran cannot be hit by a disruptor, and of course the war cries of Dr. Basaidam, both take your medicine and submit.
So dark.
You forgot game
No, that
over.
wasn't
No,
in
wait,
this
that
one.
wasn't
That
in
was
this
in
one.
the
No.
ship-to-ship combat where Captain Celis
Right.
said, "Game
Of course.
on."
If the captain had ever gotten in hand-to-hand combat, that's definitely what would have come
I
out.
think, honestly, I mean, I know that you guys tend to view any problem that might have any kind of threat of violence as an Athrasi-shaped problem. I think that there is, like, I think that the captain, like, there's just hints that he's probably scarier. Or as scary, like, in those situations. He just, keeps it chill most of the time.
He's probably killed a man
Well,
somewhere.
he did phaser stun a man in Reno just
Several.
to watch him go unconscious. All right.
New Reno, it's on Bejor. Just saying.
In the Reno province. All right. Why don't we get back into it then? So the battle has just finished up. You've repulsed the invaders. There are wounded all over the upper mezzanine area that you're in. Your Jomdot fort is smashed, and there's pieces that are like have small fires and parts that are blown apart. There is, as you look down on the lower level, they've repulsed the main attack at the door. Obviously, the main attack was, or the attack that came through you was kind of trying to come through, was a diversion for the main attack, or was a way that they thought they could come up, take control of this mezzanine, then fire on everyone from up top. What they didn't expect is a crew of the Bonaventure just hanging out there with the pre-built defensive position facing them. Now, obviously, you guys were not responsible for any Orion Lethian or Nausicaan deaths. Some of the people that you attacked are badly, badly injured and in need of immediate medical attention. The disruptor overload comes to mind as an example, and some stab wounds, and there might be even a cranial fracture that's warp spanner related.
Warp spanner shaped.
But you're not responsible for any deaths. However, you can, as the silence of the post-battle hits and the adrenaline,
Yeah, Dr. Bassa would be right in there
you
right
can hear
away, making
like
sure.
crying and screaming and moaning from all over the place. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would go right onto autopilot. I mean, emergency
Right.
medicine is my jam. Like, I finally feel like myself again, not like whatever came out before. And
Okay.
yeah, so I get to work.
Sure,
right
there
away.
is a small group of Orions that come up to your guys' position, and they're just checking in. They're like, "How does everything go?" They walk up to the commander and ask, "How did everything go? Are you all right? Is Cesare all right?"
Yep, Cesar is safe. We repulsed an attack up here. Seems probably just a diversionary tactic with how few of them there were.
Okay. We need to address the wounded first, but once we do that, we're going to send repair crews up here, and a medical team is on its way. The repair crews are going to weld shut all of these access points. They shouldn't be able to get in that way again.
Okay. Do you expect more assaults throughout the night?
Maybe you should talk to Ozarkso.
I think we should. Would you be
He's
able
just down
to?
over
Where
there.
is
Come
he?
with me. I'll take you to. He takes the captain downstairs. A medical team does come up. Dr. Bassa and starts assisting. I mean, I pick. Yeah.
I start taking over. Like I start organizing them in the best way possible to get the best results possible, to make sure those who are dealing with immediate issues are dealt with first. And yeah, so I start taking control,
No,
whether they want
they
to or not.
are. I mean, they're kind of in crisis mode. I mean, as they start working, you realize they're pretty well trained medics, but
Mhm.
they are looking for someone to lead them right now. And so as soon as you come in there and start triaging and ordering them around and stuff, they're super happy to do that. Commander, you head down to where Ozarkso is, and it is Ozarkso, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Ozarkso is standing there. There is an enormous Nausicaan standing next to him. This Nausicaan is tall and bulky, even by Nausicaan standards, and he's standing there. Got a big. He's got two big bat lifts in his hands that obviously aren't his. Uh, and he's just holding them, and they're just covered in gore and blood, and he's just grinning as much as a Nausicaan can grin. And Ozarkso is sitting there. Somebody is working on a wound on his side with a dermal regenerator. As he's sitting there leaning against a wall, sees you, Commander. How'd you fare? Wait, yeah, Commander, how did you fare?
Yeah. We performed well. No injuries on our end. I see that you held the line down here.
Pulse those bastards. Good. Is my daughter safe?
She is perfectly safe and unharmed.
Excellent.
Captain, I must ask, do you expect them to return?
I'd expect nothing less. You see, in the event that an attack occurs during a moment of truce, most Orion families have what are called revenge protocols that go immediately into effect, so that even if the command structure of any crime house is incapacitated in any way, the revengeance can still be ours. Theirs went into immediate effect, and we have been retaliating throughout the night since then. Now, this was the only main attack on this position. I don't think it'll be the last. And we have been fighting them all across this station. We'll continue to do so.
The complexities of Orion family politics will forever baffle me. I also must ask what is the time frame for us regarding our duties as Jom Dalar?
Judalar. Basically till sunrise. And so sunrise will be announced over the communication systems. And once that happens, you are free to go. And Cesara can go anywhere she wants to as well. But she is the future of this family, for better or for worse. He just seems so sad when he says that.
Well, she will be the judge of where she goes. In the meantime, we will return to our positions until morning.
Right. Why didn't I have sons? Goes back to barking orders at people around him. People are coming up with data pads, and he's looking through them and giving off other orders. People are setting up a field hospital, reinforcing the various positions. Work crews are covering up the various areas that people could enter in from all kinds of different attacks. And just it's a lot of activity to these men right now.
I'm going to return to the captain and just relay to him the information as soon as sun comes up, which will be announced. Then our duties as Judalar will be completed and we will be free to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's about 1:32 in the morning. Sunrise will happen in 5.5 hours.
All right, that's longer away than I thought. Maybe we should start a rotating sleep schedule.
I'd like to do two things. One, to fortify our position here, and two, while the rules of Judalar state that we're not to leave, I don't believe there are any rules that say there can't be more of us. So finding a way to break through to the Bonaventure to request additional security personnel.
Seems reasonable.
Okay, so how is that going to happen?
Magic.
Through the power of science, I would like to investigate what the possible leads would be. We understand that it's a station-wide jamming phenomenon, but better understanding that phenomenon and how we might bypass it, or how we might work to get a signal through.
Yeah, you had tried to get a signal through previously, and I think that you had identified that there's a incredibly high-powered pattern desequencer. In effect, it's tied to the Arthurus station reactor. And it's the reactor would be the fallback position for the other family. Now, the pattern desequencer will have the effect of disrupting all kinds of energy patterns. So within a pretty good distance away from the station, no one would be able to, say, create a warp field or use impulse engines. Beaming, it would not be possible in and around the station, nor would normal communication. But that's not to say anything's impossible with science.
Well, get a signal through to the Bonaventure. There are other ways of moving security personnel here if transporting isn't an option. It's worth a try. And I mean, it only takes so many of us to fortify this position.
All right. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, Kirid and Xandra are probably, like, dragging over... what is the Kringy game again? Yeah, driving over a couple of Tongo tables to reinforce your position and rebuilding up your Domjot fort. How do you want to address the communication problem?
Well, perhaps the commander could look into jury rigging one of our communicators with an alternate power source to see if we might be able to power through the interference.
I'll give it a shot as soon as I get this table in position.
Okay, so what are you going to do, Commander?
Can we utilize a power source from the station itself, i.e. like a wall outlet?
Yeah, I mean, there's power running through multiple access points in the casino you can tap into, which is obvious, the fact that there's graph blading in use, environmental controls, like, you're seeing all of these things work, so there must be something powering them. So tapping into something like that is possible. What are you going to tap it into?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to power?
So your idea, Captain, was to use power to modulate our communications equipment. Yes.
To enhance the range and strength of our communication signals to try and break through the interference.
So could we? So essentially, what we're using to communicate the communicators. Could I interface the little communicator with this
Sure.
massive power source?
I mean, what you could try to do is take your science tricorder, interface that with the communicator, and then back up a huge amount of power into it, and it would be a one-shot, short-time communication tool, but it would completely burn out your communicator and the tricorder. You'd have one shot at this.
Well, I'll pick up a new tricorder when I'm on the ship. Surviving these next few hours seems important. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work on that.
So you start tinkering away at that, pulling off some panels, pulling out some cable, and setting this stuff up. Once you get the interface set up, it's just a matter of making it work. So you have no momentum, but I have no threat. Oh wait, that's not true because we started a new session. So immediately I start with 8 threat.
15.
2 threat for every player. There we are.
I'm not that threatening though. I'm just helping people.
I'm threatening enough for the both of you. Submit.
So certainly you can do that. Now, this is a difficulty 5 task. Using the science tricorder, you can use that as an asset and increase your amount of dice by 1.
Okay. And is this like a daring and science roll? This seems fairly daring and sciencey.
It is not a daring and science roll. It's actually going to be a reason plus engineering roll.
So you went from my best traits to my worst ones. Good idea. That was very well
purpose.
done.
Totally.
I would like to apply my away team specialist focus on the account of making things work with the resources you have at hand is something that away teams are all about. Okay.
I don't
at least
want
there's that,
to
and I've got 3 dice.
Literally every roll when you're on an away team, so be warned that I'll say no sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like.
No, I don't expect it to. In this case, it just seems something that he'd be good at. Like,
a jury rig
let's see if we can get this together.
Yeah.
MacGyver.
So, guys, do you want me to give him another threat to get an extra dice?
Yeah.
This is important enough that I feel like it's
I mean, he already has 8. What's one more?
Okay,
All
so
right,
I go
we're
up
doing
to
it.
9 threat.
And
I'm going
here
to
we
spend
go.
5 threat to increase your complication range.
All right, that
Let's
makes
see.
sense.
What were all the dice? I can't see them all.
There's a 17.
So that'll
There's
be
a 17.
1 complication.
Yeah.
Are there any other complications?
9 and 3.
Nope.
Okay.
17 is the highest one.
So I just spent 5 threat, down to 4 threat. That is 2 successes out of a necessary 8. That is not successful, and this burns out heavily.
Very much so.
And when you're doing that, you're like, it kind of sparks, and you drop it. It's like, damn it. I'd have to try something else. When that happens, the entire station is rocked with a huge explosion.
What did you do?
This was not enough to do that. That was not me.
Just
Don't
hold
blame
their hands up.
me
No,
for that.
I wasn't touching anything at all.
What was that? I look for a console to see if I can get a readout on what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there are all the consoles light up with like emergency reports, and it shows that there's an area of the docking hatches that has been destroyed in a major explosion. And so like containment fields have come up, and fire suppression controls are in place, and there it's going to be contained. But that was the docking area that the Bonaventure was.
I knew it.
Of course it was.
Crap
Right.
baskets.
That is a crappy docking station that they gave us.
It's a crappy station that they put us on.
I blame the captain for this one.
Captain. The docking rings just blew up. The Bonaventure was right there.
In your analysis, does this mean that the docking facilities are inoperable, or that damage has been sustained to the Bonaventure?
Containment fields have gone up. I'm guessing either they caused it, or I mean, it could be hurting it. It's hard to tell. It could be damaged.
Yeah, from here
I
you
can't
need
tell.
access to
As far as we
sensors, or which would be
Yeah.
scrambled by the pattern desequencer anyways, or like a visual inspection to find out if the Bonaventure either sustained damage or was destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, for all we know, the Bonaventure could have caused this explosion and blew it up.
I highly doubt the Bonaventure is destroyed. Then we wouldn't really have a show.
There's always more ships.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Fair.
There is a Constellation class roaming around here somewhere.
There is. There is the Louis Riel. And there's an old Constitution refit being rebuilt, the John A. McDonald. That doesn't
There
even
you
have
go.
a crew.
We could fly that one.
Well, in the meantime, it's neither here nor there. We will find out the fate of the Bonaventure as we go, and can hope that it is a robust enough ship to survive an airlock explosion.
It is super tough. We do have like the toughest
Yes.
ship.
I mean, they wouldn't have been able to put up shields. It was the pattern desequencer, and because they were latched onto the thing that blew up. But that doesn't mean the thing was destroyed. It doesn't not mean it. Like, for all you know, the Bonaventure just blew up, and that was the explosion, and you just lost 450 people. It's going to cause some penalties when we roll for advancement. But
Rude.
But
I think this is on you,
it could be as simple as someone blowing up the airlock area so that the Federation couldn't get involved in their civil war. But either way, the Bonaventure probably took some damage. The extent to that damage, I don't know.
Awesome.
I feel really good about our decisions.
I'm so glad we're here. It's such a nice time.
Should have left a player character on board the ship. Then we might not have been blown up.
Wow, weddings are so awesome.
Yes, especially Orion weddings. Invite me to the next one.
Sign me up.
It's better than all my family's weddings. I've never got to hit anyone with a warp spanner before.
You've never been to Klingon weddings.
That's good. That's a good comeback. I'm going to give you a point of momentum for that.
Woo!
Yeah.
Can I get a point of momentum because I sprayed the Ponfar on myself and now I am very
How does it
Ponfarred.
smell?
It's all right. I think I sprayed too much because it wasn't coming out at first, and so I kept going. Good thing it's not smell-o-vision.
Stop listening to your logical brain.
Yes.
No?
No.
Not another point? Oh.
Well, crew, let's fortify this area as well. Any creative solutions for keeping hostile Orions and Nausicaans out of this area would certainly be welcome. Keeping them out doesn't necessarily have to be limited to just shooting at them, but anything to keep us secure in here would be great.
We could probably blow the servos on the doors, the maintenance doors.
Well, they're
Keep
already
them
going to
that
come
way.
in and weld them shut. So.
I think he's
We
meaning
could
the main.
also remove.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
We need a way to
Yeah,
leave,
they are
though.
sending out parties from time to time to do their own attacks, right?
We could clear the access point that they came through at us last time. We could clear all cover from
Yeah.
this.
So we have a clear line of
They have
shooting
no
them.
cover,
Okay.
and we have cover.
So
have
you
all
can
the cover.
spend some time moving all this stuff, kind of like piling it on the wall. There's nowhere else to put just a giant pile of junk. But you can set to work doing that. That's not a problem. Just about the same time as you get finished with that, takes the better part of an hour. Suddenly, power is cut to the area. So all the lights go down, and then kind of green, sickly emergency lights come up. They would be red on a Klingon ship, but these are Orions. And then immediately, you guys, as people start shouting and stuff, you realize there's a super stillness in the air.
Has air stopped coming in?
Check the life support systems. Go back to that console.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, checking life support on the console without, like, one thing to have, like, a public alert for damage, you definitely actually have to access. So this is going to be a roll.
Gotta try.
Just do an insight plus security test. It's going to be a difficulty 2 task to get access to the kind of like eternal algorithm.
Give this a shot. Not a helm, is it?
Not a helm.
What if he just calls it helm?
Anything that
and
he
it feels
flies
better
is a
about
helm.
itself because it feels like it has more power. No? No.
Oh, nuts.
One success, that does not cut it.
Rats.
You should try and patch a tricorder in.
You don't have to patch one in. There's only one tricorder left, and it's a medical tricorder, and you have it.
Yeah, no. No one's touching my medical tricorder.
Use the tricorder. Wouldn't she be able to... Yeah. Why am I doing this? You have a tricorder.
I don't have a tricorder.
No, I'm pointing at the doctor.
Okay, so am I done like triaging people and ordering people around?
It's not like people are there now, so you still have work to do.
No.
You're never done ordering people around, and you know
it's true, I really do like
but you can do a scan around. If you like.
Okay, yeah, I'll use my medical tricorder and try and scan to see if we have problems with our air.
So this is an insight plus science. You don't get an extra dice because this is specifically a medical tricorder. And this isn't a medical task.
But
you're not
need
scanning
to breathe.
people to find out.
Fine. Okay. No, I don't think any of my stuff applies. Nope. Ferengi physiology, probably not. Shoot, I don't know.
One success. One success is enough. You don't get any momentum from that roll, but you do immediately find out that power has been cut. Obviously, the grav plating is still in place, but that might be on a separate power supply. Power supply that is running the lights and environmental controls is turned off. So at this point, if it stays this way, you will all suffocate and freeze if you don't leave the casino.
Awesome.
How much time do we have?
if you spend a momentum, I can ask. You can answer questions or ask questions. You have one
Yes.
momentum.
We
Yes,
don't have. Oh, we do, right.
Yeah, we do need to know
So
how long we have.
you probably have about half an hour before humans and Orion start seeing the first effects of oxygen deprivation. 45 minutes before it becomes lethal.
Oh my goodness. 45 minutes, Captain. That's the tops. We got to start getting out of here in a half hour or fixing it within the half hour. You should probably go talk to Azarxo. Let him know.
Let's go and inform Ozarkso.
Okay, so you head down to Azarxo. There's a bunch of people holding hand flashlights and stuff around him, and he's furiously berating some human that's standing in front of him. And she looks up at you and he nods and turns around and runs out the main door.
Okay. So we've uncovered a problem, and we are running out of air.
Cut off power to environmental controls. Damn it. After we locked them out of the grav plating, they must have been their next move. They're just hoping to starve us out, so to speak. That means if we don't get this fixed, we have to leave here. If we have to leave here, we cannot stay as a group. We're exposed in hallways. We have non-combatants here, Captain. I don't know that we all have the technical expertise to fix this problem and still keep us safe. Can you do anything?
Well, if you can direct us as to how to repair or override controls for the system, we'd be happy to attempt. However, these systems are unfamiliar to us, so any guidance that you can provide would be greatly
There's a
appreciated.
power junction box just down this hallway. And he gives you directions. It's a little ways away from the main door of the casino. He's like, I can't provide any people to keep you safe, but if you go there, that's where the power junction for the area is.
And from that power junction, we would be able to restore functionality.
That's my best
to life
guess.
support.
Scientists,
We will
not
follow up on
engineers,
that.
Captain.
And you're certain you can't spare any of your men to assist us?
Well, if I want to give up all my defensive ground and all the ground we've won from that hideous other family.
With all due respect, once everyone here suffocates to death, you will give up all of your ground as well as all of your men.
No,
Surely
if
you
it
can
comes to
spare
that, I'm throwing everything I have at a full frontal assault. And I'll need time to prepare that.
your prerogative. I hope that it won't come to that.
Too, Captain. I don't think we can do it.
Very well. We'll see to fixing the life support system.
All right.
How are we going to do this? I don't think any of us are particularly gifted engineers.
Right? Where's Dave Humphreys when you need him?
Uh-huh.
On board the Bonaventure? I was thinking, according
Chillin'.
to ship-to-ship combat, if there was damage done to the Bonaventure while its shields were down, that's an automatic breach. If it did more than 5, that's 2 breaches. Right off the bat.
Yikes.
So that's like at least a minimum of 1 breach on the Bonaventure is likely. Probably got his hands full.
He's fine. Bonaventure's fine. It's built for this. All right, well.
Make do with what and who we have.
Yep. All right, let's go see what we can. Go see if we can get this taken care of.
sh- we need some people to stay with Cesara as well.
Why?
Bring her with
Not
us.
a risk from her own family.
We're not bringing her with us. That is insane.
I agree with that
Yeah.
assessment, Doctor, but she is in the presence of her own family. I don't think we need to guard her here.
I think
her
I
family,
should stay because part of it is us staying with her.
between her family and the Orions, I feel that she'll have more than enough protection here. But Doctor, if you wish to stay, the rest of us will make do.
I think I should stay.
Sandra says,
All right.
Captain, should I stay with the doctor or should I come with you?
Please come with us. If the doctor needs us, she can
Send a smoke signal.
smoke signal a runner, perhaps.
We're literally
just
just going down
run.
the hall.
It's
Yeah.
it's just down the hall. It's fine.
No big deal.
Probably nothing.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
All right. So the rest of you are forming up. Now, I just need to take a short break right now before we continue. All right? Whether or not it is, I'm taking.
Okay.
I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
would it really matter if we said no? How dare you?
Indeed.
Yeah, guess who's getting ambushed in the hall?
These guys.
Mm-hmm. Do we have, like, respirators? Because that'd be cool.
I don't think so.
Maybe we can breathe in space. That'd be a convenient power to have.
I don't think Klingons can do that. Or humans. Or Betazoids. Bajorans, maybe.
Krill can. Krill
Yeah.
cannon.
Well, like Quinn, I will be right back.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's abandoning us.
I know. We should go and start our own game.
Mm-hmm.
We should play Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can I be a Betazoid in Star Wars?
I'm sure we could make something work out.
Actually, I'm guessing I could. Star Wars is nice like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, folks.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Could someone do me a favor while we're waiting and roll a d10?
I got this. That's a higher number than I wanted. Could I change my roll to a 2?
Okay. Could you do it again?
Sure. Ah, good.
Hi, bro.
If this is number of enemies, I really apologize, everyone.
You're not rolling any more d10s. You suck.
Yeah, no, high is bad in this game, low is good. If it's anything
Yeah.
like the other rolls.
Can you roll a d6, please?
I can.
It's not a d10, so this could be good. That's okay.
The less than half.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And finally, can you roll a d6?
Huh.
Hey, there you go.
That's probably the one that needed to be high. And
I
how many
bet.
people will be helping you? What? Okay.
Makes his job easier.
Yeah, fewer people for me to worry about. Right? All right? Huh? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. All right. So, you guys are forming up with your hand phasers, your Type 2 phasers, getting to the doorway. There's a whole bunch of guards of different types that are set up, and they have like guards in the hallways and around the different corners, and they've like barricaded them off, and they have this place locked down pretty heavily for an attack. Once you exit the casino, the doors open up and close behind you. Then, which does beg the question why they don't just open the doors and let the air in. But that would make this place pretty indefensible as well. Not being able to shut the door. Once you're out of that area and out of the protected area, they help you over some of the debris and stuff, and then you start heading down this hallway. It's a little bit further than Ozarkzo had kind of implied, but when you are running along, you do get to this kind of big junction area, and the junction area is the middle of a kind of open circular area with a cylindrical glowing device in the middle. It's pulsing right now, so there's clearly something going on. And coming from this way, there's 3 different hallways that lead off in kind of a Y formation from the area that you're in. What do you do?
Well, we will want to establish what exactly we do with this device, how to interface with it, before we decide to do anything. I mean, maybe we can't interface with it at all, in which case,
Right.
we shouldn't even be here.
Vanessa, we can't hear a word you're saying. Yep.
Now? Okay. Sorry, it's like the right length. Xandra asks if she can secure one of the hallways and asks for support to do that while you look into it.
Go ahead.
So you go off to the one of the hallways.
So-
Who's coming with you for support? There's 3 hallways.
I will go with.
Yeah, so we need 3 people, 1 person looking.
Okay,
I'll go
so
with.
Kirid and Xandra go off to 2 separate hallways, and you guys have you can kind of put the unit between you and the last one, or you can put someone there to secure that last hallway, and then whoever's left over responsible for this entire thing.
I think 2.
All right, Captain, it's in your hands.
Yep, this is
I'll-
why I
I'll
went
watch
down
the
the hallway.
By the way, Tim, your picture's frozen. We can hear you just fine, but
Oh,
you're looking down and to the left.
He's
I would
just
like-
really intent
To
on
the
what's
left,
down
to the
and to the left.
I'd like Kirid to examine the device while the 3 of us take up positions, looking down each of the hallways.
You guys keep assuming I'm good at stuff like this. I'm not. I'm terrible at this stuff.
He is a scientist and not an engineer.
We
Yes, like big difference. I
okay. Who
break
would be
stuff.
who would be a better pick here?
Literally anyone. If I'm rolling under reason and engineering, I have to roll under a 9.
I can't actually bring up anyone else's character sheets.
reason and
What do you have, Marcus?
engineering. I have a 10.
Reason. plus
Sandra's a 9 as well.
engineering. I've got 11 combined.
I knew you were the more reasonable of
Come
us.
on, Captain.
Yep.
All right, so the 3 of
Oh,
you.
crap, it's me.
He totally tried to pass
Delegate.
it off.
He tried to delegate.
And
It's not passing off, it's delegating. It's different.
that's fair. I get that.
All right, so the 3 of you defend these hallways, and I'm going to start poking around and seeing if I can interface with this device and use it to
Okay, so-
restore the life support.
I try and get Captain to be as hidden as possible from these hallways, and I try and find the best place with my surveillance skills
I mean,
for us to
without
down the
rolling, I
hallways
can
and not
tell
be
you
seen.
that no matter where he stands, he's going to have his back to at least one hallway.
Okay. Well, But like just she would try and get the
Right.
best positions possible, right? So yeah.
The three of you are kind of like in the hallways, looking back at the captain, looking forward, trying to see if there's anything coming. Captain, you can open up the interface. There's a LCARS panel in front of you. The panel itself is obviously a Federation design, so that's helpful. Also raises some questions, but it's helpful.
Yeah, so I'm going to want to open this Federation issue LCARS panel and not question.
You trailed off, your volume cut in half. I didn't catch the last half.
So I'll want to open this Federation issue LCARS panel without thinking too much about where it came from.
Yeah, for sure. So you open it up, and there is it is require some work to get access, and that is going to be a reason plus engineering task with a difficulty of 1.
Okay. One.
Lovely. So
Nice.
not only are you successful, you do gain a point of momentum. So you do have access. At this point, you do start hearing, those of you on the perimeter, you do start hearing people moving towards you from all 3 of those of the hallways.
Captain, we've got people coming down from every hallway.
We need to distract them.
All right. Please distract them. I have work to do.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
I was more thinking with your disruptor, but that's good, Sandra. Very good.
Yeah.
Use your best judgment.
Boogity, boogity,
That might be distracting. I mean, I wouldn't be expecting it. What would boogity, boogity, boogity come across in Orion, I wonder? Through the Universal Translator.
Your mother's a
Well,
slaver.
my mother is a slaver, though.
Yes, so am I. Carrying on the family tradition. Thank you.
Well, I don't exactly want to shoot down there in case it's one from our side of things, right?
I'm actually... Well, speaking of that, I'm going to start shooting down my hallway as rapidly as I can to... essentially to make them not want to charge into fire.
So he starts firing down the hallway.
Your phaser?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, you can
to hit
see
anyone,
the end
but
of the hallway, and you're just shooting at a wall.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, just to give the impression.
Well, if we're doing this, we gotta all do it. So I guess
Let's join in.
Let's all shoot the wall. Yep.
I'll set the stun.
If you all think that this is the best way to find time,
but it already started.
One of you can make a presence plus security task, and one other person can assist with it.
Xandra's presence plus security.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll use hers.
I will assist.
And she has a focus of surveillance.
2 successes, lovely.
Ooh,
Who would like to assist? Okay, go ahead. 1 dice.
I'll assist.
3 successes. So that was a difficulty 2 task. So you gain 1 point of momentum. You're up to 2. You do hear a scramble of activity as people in hallways that you can't see dive for cover and start yelling. For all they know, they're walking into a major firefight. There's multiple phaser fire coming from all kinds of directions. They're just like, whoa, and diving. So yeah, that.
I really hope it's not
that
friends.
Gives the captain another round to concentrate. Hey, Captain, you're in. Now what?
Great. I want to find the functionality for the life
Okay.
support and
So
restore
first
it.
thing you're gonna have to do is find out what's kind of wrong. So a diagnostic. So why don't we try a an insight plus security test. That's right.
Insight plus security. Okay.
Okay, that's no problem. It was a level 1 task, so you got 1 success. So immediately you do see that this junction box that you're standing in front has been deactivated and uncoupled from the main grid by a main set of controls in the reactor area. Now, what that means is that they would have had to override something because normal safety protocols would dictate that that's not possible to do from there without override. But if they do have the override in place, they can do it. You can spend momentum to ask follow-up diagnostic momentum.
Do we think this is worthwhile?
Yeah, we have to. You can find out how to redo it, set it up again, right?
This is kind of why we're here, not to distract people.
Not to shoot.
Your input is always valued. All right, follow-up question. How do I fix this thing?
So, spending 1 momentum for follow-up question. The way to fix this is that you can reinitialize and recouple the core or this power junction from here, and it would take the controls off of the grid but allow power to move through it, kind of like bypassing a fuse. Whenever Star Trek describes technobabble, they usually follow up with a really homey kind of analogy, so the audience gets it. So kind of like bypassing a fuse. You can do that. What that would require is a complete shutdown of this junction, and then to restart it from cold, go through a full restart sequence. You have any other questions you want to ask?
And how long do we estimate that will take?
That entire process, if you're successful, will take 3 rounds.
Well,
we can protect you.
Okay. So we'll pause there, and at this point, the people in, let's see, roll a d6. Vanessa, you're 1 to 2. Jake, you're 3 to 4. Timothy, you're 5 and 6. Okay. Period. You hear that the people that are outside of your area are organizing and they're getting ready to rush. Because they assume they're walking into a firefight, so they're going to get aggressive.
Yes. They're going to
Yes.
get aggressive, huh?
So at this point, we will begin an initiative round. You technically go first.
Well, this is interesting. Okay. So I'm looking down a hallway. I cannot see anyone, but I can hear them planning a charge.
If they're organizing, they're about to rush around that corner to attack.
All right. So I really, there's not much he can do. So he's going to instead yell out, "Run! They've got explosives!"
Interesting. So,
and he's going to attempt to bluff them.
So that's going to be a social attack. So that will be a presence plus command task.
All right. Yeah, I don't think any of my focuses will apply here. I have a feat or a talent called Diffuse the Tension. Is this a task to persuade someone not to resort to violence?
No, you're literally threatening them with more violence.
Yeah, you're raising tension, if anything, not calming things down.
I thought it might be worth an ask. Okay. I'm trying
you
not
want-
to have to shoot them. I think I'm trying
That
to
is
not
good.
have to be
That is
violent.
good.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That
Ooh,
was
nice.
a level 1 task. I'm going to suggest that you made it. You got 1 momentum. Or wait, I think that's an opposed task. Yes.
They're already
They
scared,
are
though.
pretty scared because they stumbled into a firefight, but they are in the midst of combat. So yeah, they only get 1 success.
No.
You hear them screech to a halt. They are not going to rush, but one of them is going to duck their head out to the side and then fire at whatever's down that hallway. So
Okay.
you do see an Orion head poke around the corner and a disruptor rifle fire at you. Now, of course, since this is all a new scene, you guys all are at full stress. Right? So
Good. That's kind of important.
So that is a single success. That means that person does not hit. They poke their head around and fire down the hallway, and a disruptor blast blasts over your head and kind of past the main junction box and hits the far wall.
All right.
All right. So after that, there's some disruptor fire being returned. The other 2 folks start yelling back and forth at each other. You do realize immediately that they're all on the same side and they were coming here for whatever reason or coming through this area from different areas. So they start firing into the area. Now they're taking their time and being very careful to do what they do. So the next one to fire in is at Marcus. Or no, wait. Jake, then them, then Marcus. Sorry, go ahead. Marcus.
That's what I thought.
So you see them like, you can kind of see like the end of a rifle go up against the peek out, and they kind of peeking around the corner, getting ready to attack around the corner. There's one on either side of this hallway that you're facing and firing down. But they are getting ready to attack.
Okay, I'm going to hold my action for until one of them peeks
Okay.
out to fire.
Okay, so
That is what I will do.
And then do what? What are you going to
And
do?
I'm going to
with
shoot him. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to
I
shoot
thought
whoever
so,
pokes his
but-
head out.
You could have done a dance or something.
I'm going to throw my mech.
Think of it.
Throw a plate.
Mechanically speaking, there's going to be no real benefit for you. Because since they're firing around a corner, unless they came out and fully charged, since they're firing around a corner, they get a certain amount of cover dice, regardless if they're like heads poked out or something like that. Just because it doesn't, like, this system doesn't worry about like, oh, the 75% or 25% of them are showing and all that crap. So you could just take that shot now. It's going to be about the same as you would.
Okay.
Do you want to take a minor
Let's take
action
the shot
first?
Do that
Yes.
first.
I am going to charge
Okay.
up the phaser.
And what does that do?
I have to say what it does first, doesn't it? What were my choice?
Area is a choice.
Area. I'm going to do
You're saying-
area. I'm going to do an area down the
Right.
hallway.
Is that on? Right. Okay. Go ahead. Now, since this is a ranged attack, Vanessa would be able to tell you that it's a control plus security task with a difficulty of 1. Or a difficulty of 2,
I
sorry.
probably wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Okay.
No successes. Okay, so you fire and your
Rats.
phaser blast hits the far wall. A big portion of it, since you were firing
Okay.
wide beam, but the far wall nonetheless. It doesn't seem to affect them. Then the next one is going to pop their head in and fire at you. With a single success, so that does not hit you. One of them pops in, fires their disruptor blast at you. And next up is Xandra Thor's daughter.
Sorry, just waiting on the clock.
I mean, I think in this situation we're kind of on the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was chiming 7 times for 7 o'clock. That's why. So she's going to do an area shot down the hallway. All right. Come on. Oh, not good.
So
Oh, no.
that is a
Not
single
good.
success, so that doesn't hit, and a complication. You have 1
And-
point of momentum. Would you like to remove that complication?
Bad news. Removing complications takes
So you'd have
2
to-
momentum.
you have to
I
add
saw
threat.
that when I was reading.
Well, and don't we need it for Captain to really get life support on?
Yeah, let's let him do that.
Yeah. She's gonna roll with it. She's gonna take
All
the
right.
complication.
So what I'm going to have you do is roll a d6. See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what that complication did.
Yay!
I love those ones.
That's impolite.
Mm-hmm. All right. Carry on, my wayward sons.
What did you apologize to?
I
Canadian.
apologize to the computer because I hit the wrong button. Yeah.
I do miss that.
Come to think of it, that's exactly what I just did. What are you gonna do? I think the best was when Jake first moved to Canada before he went back to the Americas. I think they're called. And sure.
Yeah, that works.
Was when I described to him that Canada actually has an act on the books called the Apology Act, wherein it explicitly states that if you are in an accident in Canada and you apologize, that is in no way to be construed as a admission of guilt, because it's so culturally ingrained to apologize that it's just expected that even when you're not at fault, you'd apologize anyways.
I use that law to explain Canada to Texans.
Right.
I'm not
great.
even kidding.
That is great. I love that about it, but I do enjoy the juxtaposition of showing Canadians playing hockey versus Canadians just apologizing in general at the world, because those two things I don't think make sense in American minds.
They don't.
A lot of repressed emotion that has to come out on the ice.
It's literally the only time that Canadians show anger or frustration is in hockey.
Mhm.
Literally the only time.
So anyways, that's fun. So after, let's see, that was Marcus, and then you got fired back on. Then Xandra, Thor's daughter, you're up.
She did.
Oh, you got
That
the
was
She got the
complication.
complication.
Right.
But you're
And
not
so
telling
then
us.
you're going to be shot at. That is only a single success, so they are not successful in firing down the hallway at you. They would be a lot more successful if they had just rushed your position as the initial plan was. But now they think you have a bomb.
Yes! Maybe I do have one. You don't know.
All right, Captain. Now, time to shut down this power junction.
All right, I'm fiddling with buttons and I'm navigating through the very intuitive Elcar's menu system and
All
I'm
right,
shutting
so
this
this
thing
is
down.
going to be a reason plus engineering task.
He spent some momentum.
Are you going to spend momentum? You have
How
a
much
single
momentum do we
point of
have?
momentum, so you can add a single dice. I will point out that you have 3 rounds to do this, so there's going to be 3 different rules. And anytime you fail, though, you have to redo that step.
Well, let's just try without spending momentum.
This is a difficulty 1
Reason
task.
plus
Shouldn't be too
engineering.
difficult. Maybe I shouldn't have said those words.
Yeah.
That was rude.
Why do you have to jinx us like that? Jeez.
Ah,
Whoops. I feel like
You're
that
the
one's
worst.
actually
the
my
I
worst.
hate you.
No successes.
Yeah.
I
second
couldn't
that.
agree more.
What's your Targ's name?
the
Lucy?
target's name
Good
is
name
Lucy.
for a Targ. Yeah, your Targ seems mad at me right now.
I think so. It's mad at lots of things.
We're all mad at you, Quinn.
Yes,
All right.
we are.
Anywho, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that out loud. It's like when you're watching hockey and there's a shutout coming, you don't actually say the word shutout because
That's right.
Things you learn.
Just like a pitcher throwing a no-hitter. No one talks to the pitcher.
sure.
Sports are weird.
All right, next up is so there are 2 people on each of those junctions. They're spending this round doing a movement action and taking cover, or a movement minor action then taking cover, so that they can be set up so everybody is ready to start blasting away at you in 2s like this round. So top of the next round we'll have Jake, Commander Cured Hex, go.
All right. Okay. So this seems to be a firefight that is not stacked in our favor. So instead of, hunkering down to shoot, he's going to yell out, "Our men are in position in their flank! Charge!" And he is going to actually begin to charge their position, making sure to actually end this round in cover. Like, he's bluffing hard because there's not
So
much
this
that he
is
can
an
do about
empty
this.
hallway. At the
ballsy.
end of this hallway is a T intersection, and around those T intersections on either side is an Orion trying to kill you. If you're charging, where are you going specifically?
Good point. There is an empty hallway. Do I have a place I can just pop into cover and
Yeah,
begin
I mean, you
trading
can
shots?
back off, use a movement action to back off and take cover. I mean, realistically, you can do that just around the corner on this side of the hallway.
I was imagining
No.
rubble
No.
in the hallway. Okay, that would definitely change that. Instead, what I'd like to do is there.
Rubble?
I could make rubble, but I think what I'd like to do is make smoke. Is there lights or anything like this that I could begin shooting the wall to create a dust cloud or other?
Yeah, you can start shooting out the lights along the hallways, trying to make darkness and sparks and kind of just make it very difficult for them to see. That would be creating an advantage. So that's a difficulty 2 task, and I'll let you do that with a control plus security task.
Okay. That I think is the best plan in this case. Control plus security. Would combat tactics and away team specialist, I mean, combine together to create focus? A unique way of approaching a super focus? No, but it's in one of those two. Like, this is a unique combat situation, but it's kind of adapting to the circumstances. Okay.
2 successes. That does it.
Nice.
That does create an advantage of them not being able to see down the hallway.
That's what I was going for. And if they pop out of the cloud, I've got the spanner.
So they either have to overcome that advantage, or they're going to suffer a 2 dice penalty or 2 difficulty penalty to trying to do anything down that hole.
Perfect. Awesome.
Great move.
That is exactly what I wanted to do.
And I'll show you how phenomenal it is by having one of them shoot at you.
Oh, nice.
And they don't. Their shot goes way wide. They very clearly kind of don't know where you are right now. There's just all these sparks and kind of like fires and like pieces of the roof and the lights falling down, and it's going dark, and there's blinking lights where you've broken things.
Destroying Ozarkso's ship is also mildly cathartic. Or his
not
space
necessarily
station.
Ozarkso. Just Ryan's.
In Kieran's mind it is, and Ozarkso's face is on the light fixtures that he's shooting.
Marcus?
Okay. I'm going to try shooting one of my guys.
That is a difficulty 2, control plus security task. Ah, 2 successes. So that is a hit. They have 3 dice worth of cover. So that is 1 point. So you definitely hit them and cause damage. What is your damage?
What was the damage for a type 2 phaser?
3.
Yeah.
3? Okay.
And always remember in the future to take a minor action.
I know, I'm sorry. I realized after
0
I shot
damage.
the guy. Wouldn't have done much anyway.
Well, if the aim action could. Oh, not dice
only dice to hit, not dice to damage.
Interesting. All right. So next up is Xandra Thorsdottir.
She's going to be completely oblivious that there was something that might end up being very bad, and she's going to she looks over at Kieran and was like, nods like very approvingly, and tries the same thing.
You're going to try to create an advantage in the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a difficulty 2 task. Xandra, have applicable focus.
Surveillance.
Shooting out light fixtures.
Shooting out light fixtures.
And they thought it never
Photon
would be used.
torpedoes.
Oh.
Okay.
That is a single success that does not create
No.
the advantage. You kind of blast away at some of the things, but you don't do enough damage to cause the full effect.
Right.
At this point, it is the person that was back. And one success, not a hit. I haven't scored a successful hit. Right. So, Captain, it's all up to you. Just need a single success. How hard could that possibly be? What could go wrong?
Let's find out. This
That's
is
right.
reason plus engineering. Okay.
2 successes. So not only are you successful, you
Fantastic.
create a point of momentum. So while these phaser fire and disruptor fires going, there's kind of explosions over near Kirid. You're sitting there. You're padding away, and then there's like a denied sound. You just start at it again, and the lights in this thing just go boom and completely go dark, pitching the room that you're in into much more dim light. Not complete darkness, but much more dim light. Now it's a matter of reinitializing and then starting it up. I guess uncoupling it, then starting it.
Am I able to do that this turn, or
One
am I going to
round.
have to wait?
Yeah, so I said that it was going to take 3 rounds of 3 successful rolls to do this. And anytime you would fail, you're going to have to redo that step. You don't have to go back to the beginning or anything, but you got to keep going until you get that thing done. And they have to be done in this particular order, and yada, yada. All right, next up is the 3 Orions that are left. First one's going to fire at Kirid. That is only a single success. Next one at Marcus. That is 3 successes. That does hit. And since that hits, they are going to roll damage, as they say.
He gets cover, though, right?
Cover. None of you have.
Bold.
Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of damage on Marcus. What? No, is a 1 a 1, 2 is a 2, 5 and a 6 are each 1, and it has the vicious quality. That's 5.
Then it'd be 7.
Oh, 7. 7 stress as you get hit with a disruptor blast. Marcus, that does mean that you take an injury.
You can avoid an injury by spending 2 momentum.
To have momentum.
And you're muted.
I don't know about this whole spending momentum. We need that thing and reinitialize.
Literally a step away from
I
can. Yeah.
Okay. I have the talent of tough, so that cost goes down by 1.
Yes, I have that too. We're tough buddies. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So you're going to spend that momentum to take away that injury. You still take the stress, of course.
Yes.
But you shrug that off. So the phaser fire hits you, kind of like jerk back, but you immediately just round yourself and you completely ignore the pain.
This gaping chest wound.
There's probably like a little bit
wound.
of fire on your uniform and like smoke coming out of a hole in your chest, and you're just like, it's a flesh wound.
Take cover.
I blow the fire out.
All right, next one is going to fire at Xandra. Oh, that is a single success and a complication. So I'm going to say that he jumps around the corner and fires. And what he does is he hits kind of an exposed cable that's hanging from the stuff that you were previously hit. And there's a big kind of explosion that happens that momentarily blinds him. He's going to lose his neck.
I like that.
All right, Captain, it's all up to you. Now you have shut it down. Now you need to uncouple this thing from the system and then reinitialize it. So now is the uncoupling a conscious uncoupling, if you will. This is again.
It's apt for our wedding of awful.
This is again going to be a reason plus engineering test.
Okay.
Use a momentum.
That is a success. So you do successfully uncouple the power junction from the grid, so they can't remotely shut it off anymore. Next up is top of the round, Kirid.
Well, this is going well. So you say that the area effect of these phasers is a wide beam. Would it be possible to create an advantage? So we've got very poor visibility in my hallway. Just to start shooting beams down this hallway without the intention of hitting people, but with the intention of really causing as much confusion and chaos and disruption on their end as possible.
Their heads down.
It's like essentially suppressive fire, but instead of multiple shots, it's just these wide beams.
I like it. It would be creating another advantage.
Yes. Why actually roll to fight when you can roll to create advantage?
The reason is that simply they're hard to do because they're difficult to do, but I like them a lot.
Yeah. And I really shooting's a difficulty too. It's not exactly like that's different. Yeah. And what's the stats on this particular
advantage? Let's see. I think that this feels to me like a daring plus security test.
Okay. And would combat protocols provide here? This is a form of suppressive fire. This is a fun form of suppressive fire.
2 successes.
Nice.
Lovely. You've created a second advantage, increasing the difficulty of firing at you with difficulty 5, which is the maximum that it can.
This hallway is very advantageous for us.
Main thing is they have right now. It's so hard to even pick. Like they don't know you're firing it like an irregular pattern. So they don't know when they can poke their head around and fire without getting a face full of phaser. So, and even
yeah,
you're actually singing a song in your head, and that's why it's not like the same rhythm. Yeah. Like da 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 da.
Brilliant. All right, next.
Kieran's having the time of his life here.
It's mathematically impossible for them to shoot you right now. Unless I spend a threat and add a single dice, or spend 3 threat and add 2 dice. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. So they are going to roll with 4 dice on a difficulty 5 shooting task.
All
There's
right.
1, 2 successes and a complication. The complication is going to be that the person that tried to shoot you put his face out and got a face full of phaser. So how that's going to complicate is that even though it didn't do any stress to him, He is disoriented for a round. He's going to lose an attack.
Excellent.
Sandra has a lost attack. Kieran has a lost attack. Lost attacks for everybody. Next up is Zandra. Or wait.
Xandra's going
Next
to.
up is Marcus, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Marcus is going to take cover. And stare down the guy who shot him and shoot him back. I'm guessing because I'm taking cover, I can't do the charge. Is it? Nope. No, I don't know.
I think movement is. It just is up to you whether he had to move far enough that that's all he can do.
Let's see where. Here we are. Certainly, movement is a minor action. Going prone is a minor action.
Oh. Well, then I'll go prone.
I will allow you to take a minor action. I mean, it just makes sense to me, regardless of what the rules say, that you're basically just stepping around the corner, and that is taking cover. So that's a movement, which can be a minor action. If you want to take two minor actions, like literally you can step around the corner, then go prone, and you've both taken cover and increased the difficulty of you to be hit. Ranged attack. Or you can take cover and fire, or drop prone and fire, whatever you want to do.
I'm going to charge the phaser for area and fire.
None of that wimpy taking cover, moving out of the way of fire bullcrap.
No, cover, but...
So if you take the minor action of move, you can't charge the phaser.
Okay.
You just fire.
Okay. That's what I was going to... Okay.
I was about to say, you went from a very smart way of dealing with combat to just be like, no, screw it, I'm doing an area shot.
Yeah.
Fire the ball, bam.
Okay. So yeah, taking cover. And we'll
taking cover and going prone. All right, so that's your round, and then you're going to be fired upon. I think you now need 3 successes to be hit. And even if you do get hit, you have cover. That is not going to be successful. No successes. All right. Next up is Xandra Thor's daughter.
She's gonna move and grab some cover.
Okay. Same thing kind of as Marcus just did? Or is movement your minor action?
Sure. No, I'm gonna get
taking your minor action to move, and then you're going prone. You have 2 actions in a round, a minor and a task, right?
Right.
So the minor action can be.
But if I move, it does me no good.
Gets you under cover.
No, you get cover.
Okay, I will move, and then I will aim and shoot.
Aim is a minor action.
I can't aim. Right.
Okay.
So I'm going to move and shoot.
Yes.
No aiming. Who knows where I'm shooting it? I have no idea. I'm just closing my eyes and shooting. No? No. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Boom.
That is a single success. That does not hit, but you are undercover. You're going to be fired upon. 2 successes. That is a successful hit.
Good thing I got undercover.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3 points of damage. You have 3 cover dice.
Okay. Come on, good cover dice.
1 cover dice. So you get 2 points of damage, 2 points of stress.
Better than a
It
kick in
is
the
better
pants.
than a kick in the pants. I agree.
You were literally shot in the pants.
Yeah. Still better than a kick. It's kind of.
I don't know if you know how guns work.
We are Canadian.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Hey. Next up is the captain.
All right.
So you have successfully uncoupled it as well. So now it's a matter of just starting this thing up again.
Okay,
You have
use the
1
momentum
point of
this
momentum.
time because then you don't have to restart it.
You don't
This
have to restart
process.
it, but you'd have to redo this part.
Still.
Okay, so if we spend 1 point of momentum, that
Right.
is 3d20.
Okay.
Let's spend that momentum.
A single success, which is successful.
Good.
So
Oh.
now you
Mhm.
reinitialize it, the place goes whoosh, and the light comes on, and you have completed your mission. That being said, you have 3 Orions that are still going to fire at your people. So,
2.
Kirit, 1 success. Yes,
I
you
don't
do.
get one.
There's
There's 2 in each hallway, right? So
Yeah,
you
but
get
the
one
other
shot
one
at
fired already, but one was.
yeah, that one was losing its next
One,
attack. Oh, the other one fired already.
yeah, that
Right.
Yeah,
one that
it's
already.
this
So
one.
Marcus,
It's
you
this one
also
that's
don't
losing
get
its
hit,
attack.
and there is a complication. The complication is they start in the confusion. They're yelling contradictory orders, and the 2 down Marcus's tunnel run away to reinforce another position.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Let's go down that tunnel, maybe.
Marcus
Let's
is
go
shouting,
back.
"Cowards!"
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Attack! All right, so top of the next round, 2 of them are moving this action to reinforce other hallway positions, but you do have a clear hallway. If you all kind of take the sprint action, you can just run out of this combat right now.
Let's do that.
I'm enjoying the tune that I've got playing in my head, but okay.
You can jog to it
I
as
don't
well.
like
It's
running
all
away
good.
from combat.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be doing some dances as he
Okay,
runs.
so Kieran takes the sprint action.
Marcus looks at you funny.
Kieran's running away.
Marcus takes his round to look at him funny. Odd use of a round, but
Yeah. No. That's how I'm doing it.
Hey,
That's what I'm doing.
so Kieran, that is a difficulty 0 fitness plus security task.
I actually have to roll that. Well, I can do
Difficulty
this.
0.
Fitness,
I hope you can.
security. I don't know, man.
1 success. So Kieran's, you yell something before you run out of the combat?
Yes, he would.
Like, hey, this way's clear, follow me. Or, ah! Or, Leroy Jenkins!
All right, boys, let's charge him. And then he just runs backwards.
He's the master of misdirection.
Because they can't. The people in my hallway can't see. So
That's probably why they're calling in backup, because they assume that there's just massive amounts of troops at the end of this hallway. So he goes running from his position, past the captain, past Marcus, and away.
I would like to run
of course,
with them,
but you're taking up
just
the lead.
for flavor. Yes.
All right. Next up is so Kieran. The people down your hallway are going to fire. Not that it matters. They can't get a success to you because you can't be hit by a disruptor. So what's the point?
I'm literally going to spend every combat in the future just creating advantages until I can't be hit.
Not a bad way of spending combat, really.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so basically what happens is that next Marcus go.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Kieran's
taking
running
point.
past me. All right, I am scrambling
Okay.
up and running
Make
after
the
him.
same sprint task. That's a fitness plus security.
Dun, dun,
And
dun.
security. Would my
Submit!
martial arts
No.
work?
His martial art of running.
Running
Yeah.
away. It's a great martial arts skill. It's part of
What
this
about
kata.
infiltration? Evasive action.
Evasive
Running
action.
could be a part
Evasive
of
action?
evasive.
Totally.
Oop.
It would
So
actually
that
apply
is a
here if
single
it was
success.
evasive
You
action.
gain 1 point of momentum.
Yay. I can
Good for
run, guys.
The Bryans down your hallway are not there, so they're not going to fire at you. All right, next up is Zandra Thor's daughter. I keep wanting to say Dr. Bassa.
I know. I'm not her right now. Zandra is going to bravely run
That is a
away.
fitness plus security task. 0.
Okay. Unfortunately, group ship
2
combat
successes.
doesn't really
So
help.
that's
but
2 more momentum. You guys are up to 4.
very good at running.
Next up is the people shooting at Zandra. Nope. All right, another disruptor blast comes down that hallway. Next up is the captain. Captain, fitness plus security to pull up the rear.
He
Thanks.
could charge them. Don't
That's
don't
true.
put
This
actions
is your
in his
character.
Mhm.
Far be it from me to say how you're going to play.
I'm going to not charge at them, and I think that would be for the best. I do have a focus in evasive actions.
No successes, but it is a 0 success. So all it means is you don't gain momentum.
Captain, we really got to get you working out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Fine.
That's the
Little
lowest
portly.
fitness I have seen yet.
Yep. You're a little
He
portly there, buddy.
literally, while under fire, completely reinitialized an entire power couple or power junction while uncoupling it from the grid. You guys are giving him shit.
I didn't
We're
insult
like,
his
but you're
brain.
running.
I insulted his body.
There's a big
Separate.
difference there.
Okay,
I imagine that happens to you, Jake. A lot of people just be like, "You're so tall,"
Yeah,
and just like give you shit for being tall.
I can't play basketball. No, I didn't play basketball. I'm sorry.
but why?
Why
You're
Trust
so
me.
tall.
Watch me play basketball and you'll see. And no, I will not help you get that item off the top shelf.
You literally,
But I can't reach
to be
it.
clear, you probably would.
I always do. It makes me very happy that I
Your
can help out
partner
all
is
these
not
short people.
on the taller end of the spectrum.
I would say 5'5" is not on the
And
tall end of the
so-
spectrum. No.
She's
And-
got
True.
2 inches on me, so she's like a giant.
But when we got married, I did. She wanted to get a stepladder, and I was like, "No, I'm tall. We don't need one." And to this day, she won't let us get a stepladder because she makes me get up and get whatever she needs whenever it's tall.
No, you're tall.
Yep,
Go
we
get it.
don't need a stepladder. You're tall. Now come fetch this.
That's awesome.
I'm working.
I deserve
home
it.
now
so
and
I'm
get that.
like, she's good. I deserve that
I
one.
agree.
I learned,
Wins.
Mm-hmm.
but she wins every round.
All right,
really
so you
kidding.
guys get away from the fight. There's a lot of confusion and blasts and stuff behind you, but just doesn't bother you any because you're running back to the door of the casino. You guys get back to the casino. The lights are on. The environmental controls are going. You were successful in your mission.
Woo!
And Marcus has taken one heck of a
Yes, he doesn't
shot.
seem to be. It doesn't seem to be worrying him at all. But it is still smoking, and that's a little disconcerting.
He's kind of like patting it. Ow.
Doctor,
Dr. Bassa makes a beeline, right? As soon as she sees.
like you can smell it. Like you're on the
Mhm.
upper level. Like, he's injured.
It smells like human flesh. That's not cool. That's not cool.
Yes, flesh does gross. Bill. What's that?
Among others. Smells gross,
Among
the
others,
trail,
yes.
among others.
So you go over and you're going to apply medical aid. So why don't you make a
Yes.
daring? Oh, you don't have to. Let's see. You don't have to stabilize the person. So why don't you roll a daring plus medicine task though,
Okay.
with a difficulty of 1.
It's a difficulty of 0 because I have field medicine, which means I decrease the difficulty
Lovely.
of a roll by 1. And I also have
Mhm.
emergency medicine as a focus.
This is your jam.
So yeah, this is my jam. This is what I'm built for. Sorry, I just lost my little screen because I had Xander up. Ah, there we are. Oh yeah, it is
Holy
my
cow.
jam.
4 successes. Wow.
Yeah.
Also, her medicine skill is almost as high as her daring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 4 successes. That is brilliant. All right, so you guys are maxed out on momentum. That's for sure. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Marcus, you remove all the stress.
Okay.
And then add 50. You're fine.
She runs up and quickly just stabilizes the area, takes out the necrotic flesh with a plasma scalpel while administering a sedative. You don't even feel anything, and then she's in there with the dermal regenerator. Before you even know what's going on, you're fine.
Thank you.
And she just runs off to the next patient.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Got a good doctor.
That was
Why are the good ones always crazy?
I don't know about you, Captain. I could use a nap. It's getting late. We need to set up a rotational sleep schedule. Otherwise, we're going to start fading soon.
It sounds like you wish to nap first, Commander.
If possible, yes. I have exerted myself quite a bit today, and then I'll wake up and I'll take second watch, which is usually the worst watch, so I can do that.
Which 2 among us feels the least fatigued?
Dr. Bassa is going to keep working on people.
I doubt
for as
she'll
long as
sleep
possible.
tonight.
Yeah. This is not a time where I'd...
And there's new wounded coming
Marcus
in
will-
from time to time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm working my whole time. But this is where I excel. So, I get a
just gonna-
burst of adrenaline. Yeah.
Marcus volunteers to take the first watch.
Put this out here. Certainly staying up for long periods of time isn't great, but we only need to stay up until sunrise, and it's not like y'all been up for a day at a time. I think it might be reasonable to ask all of us to stay awake until sunrise. You can nap when you get back to the ship.
All
Just
right,
think of it as finals.
I can do
Wow.
You ever pulled an
that.
all-nighter at the academy?
Nope. No, always.
Several.
He was in bed at the right time for all of his daring do. He's very punctual when it comes to sleeping.
All the time.
All right.
All the time.
So you guys go up to your Domjot fort, and Cesare is huddled in there. Dr. Bass is running around. About 20 minutes goes by when suddenly the environmental control starts spewing a green gas.
Not again.
Okay, let's evacuate this place.
For flip's sake.
Can we just
Doctor,
turn
can
on some
you assess
ventilation and suck it out of here and not have to run out of the room again? That would be awesome.
The only ventilation
Can we
is
close-
either through the environmental controls or opening up a hole in the hull and exposing the area
Yeah.
to space.
Yeah.
Could we
What could
close?
possibly go wrong with that?
Could we close the vents? That would buy us half an hour. We determined that when we don't have oxygen, we can last
Possible.
for half an hour.
All kinds of things. You don't even actually
I
really
think
know
we
what's
should-
going on.
That's
Just can see visually that this gas is coming.
Doctor, can you quickly
Dr. Bassa
analyze?
scans and tries to figure out what the gas is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is going to be a insight plus medicine check. And yes,
Okay.
you cannot use your tricorder. No, you cannot.
No, I cannot.
what if you exposed somebody not in our crew to the gas and then analyzed them? I think it might be worth the extra die.
Wildly unethical, but
Azarxo, we need you. Come here. Breathe this in.
Do I know the difficulty of this task yet?
Yeah, it's a
Figuring
level, a
it out?
difficulty 1 task. Shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. I also have quick study that anything that's unfamiliar medically, I ignore any difficulty
It's not
increase.
really a medical issue at this point.
No. Okay. Infectious disease. Does that help me? Okay. All right. Just figured I'd ask.
2 successes. Lovely.
Yeah.
You're still at maximum momentum, and immediately you realize that what's boiling in through the environmental controls is anesthetizing gas.
No! They can't steal my
That's
thing!
our move. They can't take our move. We invented that move.
Kudos. You deserve a point of momentum if anyone does.
Oh, man.
So, some people closest to the vents on the exterior walls are already getting woozy. This place is going to be unconscious fast.
Sleep City. Yeah.
We need to shut off the vents now.
Yeah.
We need to close them off completely, oxygen or no.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go
Captain?
attempt to do that.
It's our favorite gas. Anesthetizing gas. We need to get these vents closed.
Doctor, since you're so familiar with anesthetizing gas, even not being in your lab, is it possible to develop some kind of...
I can shoot us full of stimulants.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Close the vents.
You can
Shut
do
But
multiple
also do
things.
that.
There's multiple people.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and...
So most of us should take time to start trying to seal the vents. I'd really like the doctor to do some quick thinking about a way to counteract this gas. Maybe so at least we can stay conscious, if not everyone else.
Get a hypospray ready of
Okay, so why don't we-
stimulant or something.
Yeah, why don't we
that
start
effect.
with trying to access the environmental controls? You do have that exposed panel at this point, so you can try to access it. You had tried once before and been locked out. It is a difficulty 2 task to gain control. You have
We have
tons of
momentum. We should use it.
Uh-huh. This is like immediately when this starts happening, Kieran runs over and starts trying to close the vents
Okay.
through the panel. I don't care if he's not good at
Okay,
it. He's
so
going to
that
do
is
it.
a
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
plus security task.
Okay.
Difficulty 2.
I'm going to spend
Okay,
1
so
point of
add a
momentum.
dice.
to get a third die.
3 successes. So back up to 5 momentum.
Nice.
So yeah, you gain access. Now, at this point, Dr. Bassa, you are preparing stimulant hyposprays to counteract this thing. So that's going to be a
Yes.
difficulty 2 task, because I think it's closest to creating an advantage. So
Yeah.
what I'm going to have you do is do a daring plus medicine check, because this is a real on-the-fly solution.
Yeah. Can I use my field medicine to decrease the
Yeah.
difficulty by 1? Awesome. Nice.
3 successes. All right, you have successfully generated enough stimulant for Sarah and your crew. You'd have to keep doing this over and over again in order to get other. But you could probably keep them awake indefinitely.
I'm going to start with us. Yeah. That's
Also,
what I'm going to keep
sleep
doing.
not
so.
going to be an issue for everyone.
No, we're going to be wide awake.
Hey guys, how you doing? I really like this day. Can we get those vents open? I'd really like to have those vents open.
All right. Next up is, so while you're accessing the panel and you're getting the stimulants ready, are the other 2 people doing anything?
Attempting to close panels as well.
Like physically.
Physically.
close.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, physically rushing around and
Sure.
closing panels is just not going to cut it, right?
And
Yeah.
you are going to be exposing yourself directly to the gas by doing that. It's like, let's get my face as close to
Right,
the
but-
outcoming gas as possible.
Go ahead.
How about pulling people away from the gas, like pulling the wounded away from those walls towards the center of the room?
It's probably good
Right.
for the wounded, actually. It's anesthetizing gas. Like,
It's just a lot of
won't be in
people.
any pain.
Right? So, like, physically trying to solve this issue a person at a time or event at a time in the amount of time that you have left is not likely to be a valid solution. That
Yeah.
being said, there's nothing saying that you can't dive into the power supply and short circuit the environmental control really quick so it just shuts off for a second.
That's what I'm
Okay,
going to
would
do.
you like to assist, Captain? Or rather, do you want to roll it and have Marcus assist your way?
Yeah. That's probably a better bet.
Would you care to do the honors?
Sure. What type of role
This is
are
going
we
to
looking at?
be a daring plus engineering task.
Okay.
That's 2 successes. That is fully successful. But you do get to, well, you know what? Don't
Right.
you still have to roll this. The only thing that you can possibly do to affect the outcome right now is get a complication.
Yeah, that won't happen.
You're fine. All right, so immediately you short circuit the environmental controls, and so what this does is it shuts down the environmental system for a split second, and then just causes everything to slowly kick back up, and so all the vents closed in safety seal. So you've basically tricked the computer into thinking there was some kind of environmental breach or loss of power, and so it's closing everything off so that atmosphere doesn't vent into space. So as soon as you do that, what it does is it just gives you a little bit of time before everything reinitializes and comes back up. But whatever protocol it was running will be the one that's in place when it kicks back on. So the anesthetizing gas will just start pouring back in a few seconds. But you have forestalled the problem for a little bit. That's a pretty good move. All right. Back to Kirid Hex. Kirid, why don't you go ahead and do what you're going to do now that you're in the environmental controls locally?
Since I'm in them locally, what I want to do is I want to completely shut them off. That's the first step. We're going to work forward towards a solution afterwards. But for now, I think the easiest thing is just to immediately shut them down. We've got oxygen
Okay,
for
so
half
shutting
an hour at least.
down environmental controls. Now, I'll tell you that your knowledge of engineering would tell you that while you can do this, you can't just do this. So next round, like at some point very quickly, you're going to have to localize all the controls here so they can't just turn it on remotely from wherever they are. Right? So you got to build
Gotcha.
a firewall or something
Yeah.
to keep them out. But you can
Sure.
start here if you want.
That's where I want to start. I mean, again, they've delayed a little bit. I want to delay a little bit. I'll buy myself some time, create the firewall,
Okay.
then do it again.
So now that you're in the system, though, Author's Station can assist.
Ooh.
So
Yes.
you are going to make a daring plus engineering test. And Author's Station is going to assist, let's see, by making a... probably in engines plus science, or engines plus medicine test. Which is going to, let's see, engines is 11 and its science is a 2. That's a 13.
Here's my roll.
Oh, that is 3 successes. You've already succeeded. But now Author's Station. Who wants to roll for Author's? 2 dice.
So how many am I
Just
rolling?
like is if you were using the Bonaventure.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, perfect. No, not 12. D20s.
Okay, that's another success. You guys are already maxed out on momentum, so this is solid. So yeah, you immediately shut down the environmental controls. So the anesthetizing gas, or everything is completely locked down. Now it's just a matter of finishing the job. Now, Captain and Marcus, you guys had short-circuited it to forestall the problem. Kieran yells, I've got it shut down. Environmental controls are shut down. What do you guys want to do?
I look at the captain.
Right.
Benefits of not being captain.
I know.
Sorry.
Anticipating that this gas was a prelude to an assault on the room, I'd like to begin looking at and covering the different entrances and ordering the crew to do the same, anticipating that Orions are about to come pouring.
So right now, the only way in or out of this area is through the main entrance. So you can kind of just place up on the mezzanine, and you're in a perfect spot. If people come pouring through there, you would have a major advantage just to fire down at anybody that comes in. So you guys get ready. Taking this round to get ready, I'll say that in an opening round of combat, I would give you 2 additional dice on your first roll. All right. Next up, Dr. Basa, you have your stimulants.
I'm administering
so
to my peoples. Especially Kieran first, because he's solving our problem long term, and then Captain, and then Marcus, and then Xandra.
These stimulants won't have any long-term effects if we're not exposed to anesthetizing gas. I'm not going to go jittery
it's a
crazy.
Stimulant. It's just going to not let you sleep for a while. It's all good.
You'll be sterile.
I'm already so. Thank you.
Don't worry about it. Take your medicine.
Take your medicine.
So Dr. Bassett goes around and gives everybody a hypo spray, and then following that, it is back to Kieran Hex.
I'm going to attempt to localize the controls to prevent remote access from altering the current state of the environmental controls.
This is a more difficult task. It's be difficulty 4, just because you are localizing controls away from the CNC, command and control for ops. is very tricky. But again, authorization can assist you on this. It will be.
Use
Sorry?
all the momentum too. Use all the momentum.
I'll use
So
a few of the momentum.
This will be a control plus security task.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm really not good
Are
at
you going to
this.
use
Let's
any
do
momentum?
it. I think we should use 3
Okay.
momentum.
Yeah.
Adding 2 dice.
Agreed.
No applicable focus.
2 successes.
Who wants to roll for the ship and save me?
So the ship will be rolling, or not the ship, the station will be rolling a
We'll be rolling two.
computers plus security task. So that will be a computers is 9, security is a 3, so that's 12.
All right.
You can spend a point. This is a separate roll, so you technically can spend
Can I-
a point of spend. No, wait. Yeah, why not?
I don't know.
No, that doesn't make any sense. All right, no one's momentum be allowed, but you need 2 successes to be successful.
All right.
Just muted yourself.
Chiming.
I personally love that chime. I don't know why you're muting yourself. That makes me sad.
Because it can be annoying to other people. Yeah. Anyways, we had a house sitter not stay in our house because of the chiming. So, all right, rolling it. Come on, computers.
That is a natural 1. That is 2 successes. That is 4 total.
Successes!
You successfully localize control to this panel. So environmental control for the casino area can only be accessed through this panel physically.
Nice. Nice.
Yay.
Good job, Karen.
All right. So there's attack doesn't come at this point, but Kieran, you have turned off the environmental control. You have localized the system to here. What are you doing to fix the problem so you don't all die?
Vent the gas. Vent the gas.
Oh, first of all, we need to. Well, if we vent the gas, we vent the oxygen. Right now, we have no oxygen flowing in, and that's
Make a
problem.
cross breeze.
Essentially what we need to do is we need to flush the ducts. We need to flush the system behind the closed vents. So I need to work on getting that done before I can actually vent anything.
It should be noted that environmental controls on a station like this use replication technology and other types of technology to create an atmosphere from energy, right? So they create it basically out of thin air. So that means that both of those things can technically be done at the same time.
At the same time.
Right? So they just change what's in the ducts and start taking, as they cycle the air out, they start taking those molecules of anesthetizing gas out of the atmosphere.
Yep, let's have a filter. And
okay, so you're basically just changing the protocol that's going to happen when you turn it back on. Turning back on is inconsequential to it. You can certainly make this roll. This is going to be a reason plus engineering test, a difficulty of 3, and authorization can, of course, assist.
Okay, so I think I'm going to spend 1 point of momentum to add a die here.
Excellent.
That is 3 successes. That is brilliant. You're down to 1 momentum.
And very unlikely.
You are now going to... Authorization will roll sensors plus medicine. So that is 10 plus medicine 3, so that's 13. 2 more successes. You're now up to 3 momentum, and you have successfully reinitialized the entire environmental system.
Kieran solved a problem without hitting it with a warp spanner. This is
There's
new.
nothing saying that at some point you did not hit it with the.
He probably did. That was probably how he got
He's like,
access
it
in the
won't let me.
first
Damn it!
place.
Stupid thing. Access granted.
All right.
Aha. All right. So, third crisis averted.
That's a lot of crises in one shot.
I seriously want to go
No,
to
you
sleep
really, really don't.
No, you're stimulated now. You don't want to go to sleep at all.
now. It's out of habit, not because he feels tired, but it's past when he should be in bed.
Must be so much fun at parties.
Oh, time for me to go. Ladies.
1 second.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll be right back as well.
They're dropping like flies.
When Michael leaves, he really leaves.
Go big or go home. And he's already at home, so.
Did we lose the cap? Did we lose the captain?
He followed your
I see.
lead and just left.
Yeah, it's really hot here, so a lot of fluids.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's about 27, 26 in our air-conditioned home, so
What's the point of air conditioning? 26.
not spending like $500 a month on air conditioning.
So you leave it turned off or something?
No, we run it. The bare minimum of what we need to feel comfortable when laying underneath a fan and literally doing nothing.
Wow.
It did not make sense to me until I moved here, and then that's just what you do.
That's crazy. When I was in Atlanta, every building I walked into was so heavily air conditioned that you needed a sweater.
It's the same here, but I'm not paying
Right.
for their air conditioning, but I'm paying for mine.
But
and
that never
therefore,
made any sense to me. Like, the air conditioning was excessive when you were in any building, but it was, I mean, and I get why you had air conditioning. Like, they apparently, someone told me they had a law that they could not turn off your electricity in the summer because it'd be dangerous.
Yep.
And
same here.
Whereas in Canada, you're not supposed to turn off your heat in the winter. but the same thinking applies. But on the other hand, like, why wouldn't you just turn it to where it's comfortable, not like deep freeze and everything?
Because that's where people are comfortable out here, which is bizarre.
Anywho.
Yeah. It's a messed up world.
Hi, Captain. Welcome back. Okay. So, what are you guys doing now that third crisis is past?
Now I'm doing everything faster than I was before.
So glad I got everyone stimulant.
Can we? So we have access to the environmental controls at the
You guys
moment.
have the only access to the environmental control.
Fantastic. I think we should pump the rest of the station full of anesthetizing gas.
Only our
Only the
section.
casino.
Yeah.
Is there only the casino?
Yeah.
Is there a way to gain access to the rest of the environmental controls through this?
Not anymore. He just localized the controls.
We just
Okay.
cut it off.
Even
from
if
everything
you
else.
turn that off, you could only access
Don't
sequence
turn that off.
like section by section. Right? Only in command and control, like in ops, could you control the environmentals for the entire place.
and like one thing that has been really on Kieran's mind, like, have we taken a side in this Orion family struggle, in this Orion family civil war?
Ooh.
Because I don't think we should. This is something we shouldn't be doing. And the fact that we've been doing everything needed for our mission is one thing. I don't think we
Right.
should do anything that would take sides in a civil war. This is not our political struggle.
Yeah.
While I recognize that taking sides is somewhat perilous, right? The other family is trying to kill us, and we should take appropriate action to one, succeed in what we're doing, and two, not be killed. So this doesn't mean massacring the rest of the family, but if they are put out of commission for a day or two, then
Is this conversation
I-
happening in
I-
character? Because I think this is a very valid conversation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it should be. Yeah,
I think it should.
With all due respect, Captain, I think that our involvement is pushing the limits of what is acceptable. As is, we are performing our duties as Judalar, and come sunrise, I believe that we should evacuate the station as quickly as possible and let this dispute resolve itself. This is not our fight.
Come sunrise, we will evacuate our position, and not a moment before then. We made a commitment as the Judalar.
Absolutely.
Judalars, plural?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I would have us act no less than that, but to actually go on the offensive it takes it a step too far.
The offensive doesn't necessarily mean that anyone is killed or that there's irreparable harm done to their family.
That's
but
not-
at the same,
That's not the problem that I have with it. It's not that anyone could be hurt. It's the political statement that we as the Federation would be making in this struggle. I don't think that we can do that.
there's also a political statement to be made in you don't fire and you don't try and kill Starfleet officers, and that in situations like that we'll respond proportionately. I think it would be ill-advised for us to wait and sit on our laurels until morning, waiting for something to happen to us when we can take time to be proactive now.
Proactive in our defense, I completely agree. Suggesting to begin to affect other parts of the station. It's ultimately your call, Captain, but I would strongly suggest that you be very careful with what you choose to do.
Your suggestion is under advisement, Commander.
That was
Thank you.
brilliant. That was a very Federation conversation. And I think,
Yeah.
I don't know what side I'm on.
I know. I get both
Yeah.
sides
Absolutely.
very, very clearly.
As a kind of overarching theme, like the Federation is for peace and it's for negotiation and it's for not taking sides. But what it's not for is it's not for passivity or negotiating from a position of weakness. And to be passive in a situation like this, I feel like is almost as un-Starfleet as aggression.
I get it. I think I very much see the ethical dilemma here, right? Because I think you're both right in a lot of ways, but you both might be wrong in a lot of ways too, right? Because there's positives and drawbacks to both of those positions, and I think you both pointed out the weaknesses in each other's arguments as well as put forward your own. That was awesome. Yeah.
That was good.
That was so awesome that I think I'm going to give each of you a point of determination.
Ooh, I like determination.
Excellent.
We need to disagree on more stuff.
It wasn't just the disagreement, it was the way that you disagreed. And the points that were made were so super valid. Like, that is such a Star Trek conversation. Like, that is something that would have happened on screen where both of them made super valid points, and the audience has to then struggle with that ethical dilemma. That's great. While you guys are having this conversation, you finish up. The captain turns back and he's musing for a second when suddenly there's 3 explosions in quick succession from inside the casino. At least one of those explosions happens to a Zarxo. He's killed instantly.
Oh.
Boom! Boom!
The hell?
Boom!
Xandra, let's put Xandra on point on this. Xandra, what is happening? What's going on?
Take defensive position.
As we scramble for cover.
Okay. So Xandra's gonna. Oh. Xandra's going to use her focus of surveillance to kind of survey what happened, try and figure out like if they were bombs, if they were people, if like what happened there. So that what role would that be? Insight, security?
That is going to be yeah, I think it's going to be insight plus security.
Okay. So can she figure it out? Can she figure it out?
That was 1 success. She's not sure, just looking around. What she can tell right now is, with a single success, is that these explosions came out of nowhere. You can definitely see, like, that's the point of origin. But, like, Ozarxo, for example, was standing there. He turned away from one of the people he was talking to and immediately blew up with some kind of a big explosion. And this seems to have happened a couple of other times. And while she's looking around, there's another explosion that happens right in front of her eye. Not right in front of her, like in her face, but as she's watching, an explosion happens. And she does not see where that explosion came from, but it definitely comes from inside the casino.
Would it be possible
At this point,
for one of us
okay,
to
go ahead.
make
Sorry,
a
Captain. Go ahead.
to make a very quick insight plus science or security roll, asking a very specific question?
What kind of a question?
Are explosives being teleported in an effort to kill certain people in the room?
Okay. So in order to do that, you'd have to do some kind of a scan to see if you can detect the energy patterns of a thing. You do have a medical tricorder, which isn't the best for this, but it is usable for this. That'd be up to Dr. Bassa. And it would be an insight plus science test.
Okay. I don't think she has any focuses in this, but that's all right.
In random explosions?
No, weird. I know. She's got some really random focuses, but this is not one of them.
Maybe Xandra's photon torpedoes would happen here.
Okay. So, yes, what you do get sense of is that there is not teleportation technology happening here. Something else is at play. You can spend momentum for follow-up questions. You currently have, I think.
I think we probably should. Figuring out what's going on seems
that
rather
might help.
pressing.
Might
Kind of important.
Yeah.
So it's not
Mines.
teleportation. Any other ideas on what we can ask?
I'm
I have
guessing.
a hypothesis, but I have no idea how you would.
Ask about it?
Yeah,
What's your hypothesis?
that there's subspace mines. There's some kind of mines. There's some kind of mine in the room that's going off. randomly.
Like an explosive device that was left behind when they did the last invasion as a cover
Yeah.
for this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like with these questions for us to ask you, Quinn, could a valid one be what's causing this?
It probably needs to be a little more specific.
That's kind of
because I'll just say an explosion.
What is what about what are causing these
super
explosions?
general questions will lead to super general answers.
Yeah.
right. Is
so
there a pattern to any of these?
Okay.
Maybe.
So that is one of your 3 momentum, and the answer is no. They seem to be random.
but they're not random because they
The-
killed the captain.
They killed the Zarxo, yeah.
So
Patriarch.
to me,
Yeah.
that it cannot be random because he's dead.
You have 2 more momentum
Maybe.
if you want to ask follow-up questions.
Yes.
You have Marcus's hypothesis. You have
Maybe asking about essentially, did the explosion come from internal, external, above them, below them? Would they blown aside? Were they completely atomized? I mean,
you already have some of that information. So, in the sense that you have a point of origin from Zandra, so she can tell, like with those Zarxos, it looks like he turned into the explosion.
Okay. So it's not like internal.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's some kind of, I'm thinking mine.
Could it also be people that are in this room right now who were spies, imposters, drugged, what have you, with explosives on their bodies? Well, no, because then was only Zarxo blown up?
No.
Is this like a focused explosion?
They happened. There's been now 4 explosions, and they are happening at random intervals throughout the room.
And how large is the explosion?
Bigger than a
That's
grenade.
something that we should be able to see.
Bigger than a disruptor grenade.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. So I don't know what other questions we would have to ask.
Yeah. Unless we have an idea of asking if it's what Marcus thinks it is.
Ask that. Done asking questions. You haven't actually figured out what it is.
Captain?
You can ask if I'm right.
Okay.
Is
it in
Marcus's
mine?
hypothesis
You need to be a
correct?
little more specific than that. So, like, you're scanning for things.
Marcus?
What would you scan
Yeah.
for that would tell you that?
Are these some kind of mines?
I don't think you have enough information for that. I'm going to ask you to get a better question. Because some kind of mines, like, they're explosives. That's technically any explosive could be a mine.
Right.
That's not true. But still, go on.
Were the explosives pre-placed in the room, or were they projectiles fired that exploded on contact?
So that is another point of momentum, and I will say that before the explosion occurred, they do not seem to have been in the room. They were definitely not teleported. You have one more point of momentum.
Shit.
Okay. So I remember that we saw something like, what was it, half developed schematics for, was it quantum torpedo, something like that?
Corrupted schematics of quantum torpedo.
Does the quantum and quantum torpedo mean able to,
No.
phase and stuff? I don't know.
So a
Star Trek
photon
lingo.
torpedo uses photonic energy to fire, but carries a matter-antimatter warhead that causes a massive explosion upon impact, right? A quantum torpedo, theoretically, because you guys don't have any, houses a small quantum singularity. And that is
Oh,
what causes the
cool.
damage. Once the warhead's
Okay, so
activated,
that
that
wouldn't
quantum
be-
singularity shows up and it causes a mess. And that's why, like,
Okay,
matter
all right.
antimatter explosions are crazy powerful, because they just, antimatter hits matter and it utterly annihilates anything it touches, which is the same reaction that's used in a warp core, which is why a warp core breach basically destroys the ship. But a quantum singularity can be an even bigger source of power, but it's just so much more dangerous.
Gotcha.
Does anyone happen to be watching us on Twitch and have any better
There
ideas?
are, at this point, no suggestions on the Twitch.
No.
Sucks.
I was hoping.
Like what other
Is
things?
it a subspace
That
weapon?
is another point of momentum, and I will say that you do detect subspace energy occurring in this room, and there's no reason for that. You're now
Alright.
out of momentum. If you ask any more questions, you'd have to give me threat.
But we know.
So it sounds like somebody is floating in subspace grenades or mines into the
Mhm.
room and then exploding
Mhm.
them once they're close to someone.
I
they
will
want
say
to.
that all of the major alpha and beta quadrant powers, except for the Tholians, have agreed to never use subspace
Not
explosives
use that stuff.
because they are indiscriminate
Yeah, that-
killers.
That sounds like something the Orions
It
would
is
totally agree
awful.
to.
Yeah.
Is there a way to combat this stuff? I mean, do you guys know of any like things that we can do? I mean, if they're banned, I'm guessing it's because they're so difficult to
Stopping
combat.
there,
Yeah.
we are out of time, and we will finish this up in the future.
Cliffhanger.
But you have discovered this is
More.
some method of subspace weapons. Thank you so much, everybody, for dropping in and checking us out. I had a lot of fun tonight watching the crew of the Bonaventure go through repetitive instances of trauma. So, if we bring in a new character, hey, maybe ship's counselor. Who knows? All right. See you guys.